Hi, Connie here. I'm back for sort of year two with a little bit of year one left over. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about was we talked about the empty chair. And I know many of you might have been thinking, what about the empty bed? So I want to touch base on that. And I want to tell you that whatever you did or that you're doing about that is okay. And don't let anybody talk you out of something that you've decided to do, so long as it's safe. If it's safe for you, it's okay. And so I could not sleep in the bed after Gar passed. So I slept in my chair for probably at least a month. And then I just sort of ventured in there during the day and laid down and laid on Gar's side of the bed. And then a little while later, I went in there at night and laid on his side of the bed and went to sleep. And you know, in the beginning, you're not getting much sleep anyway. And so sleeping in that chair when I did that for that length of time was no big deal, because it was the sleep that I was getting was so minuscule that it didn't matter where I was to sleep, because I wasn't sleeping anyway. And someone told me they slept on a couch. Well, I didn't have a couch. I have two lazy boy chairs and then two smaller chairs for sitting. So it had to be the lazy boy chair. So I slept in that. And so getting through the empty bed, the empty side of the bed, is a work in progress, I think. And we all do it at our own pace. And I think that anything that has been done and you're doing it for more than 3 to 6 months, you might want to consider trying to do something different. Because after 6 months or so, to me, it seems like it's becoming an unhealthy behavior and it's harder to get out of. So give yourself some grace. Some people, when they decide to sleep in the bed, they'll get a body pillow just to have something that they can touch or that hits their back or whatever. That's another thought. Nothing wrong with that. We have adjusting to do, and that's the biggest secret of this whole widowhood. We are adjusting to things that we've probably, for the most of us, have never had to do in our entire life. Because I know a lot of you that have shared with me over the years, you were very close in my age and the amount of years that you were married. And so, you know, we met in high school, went from your bed at your parents' house to your marriage bed a lot of times. And so we never had that experience as a real adult by ourselves. And so it's an adjustment. And when you do start going to bed, you hear every noise, every little thing, and you're startled. So give yourself grace on that bed, whatever it takes. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat below. One of the other things, going back to year one, that someone recommended to me was a book called Widow to Widow. And I'm going to tell you, that book was a big help to me. And it's like it covered a lot of stages. And so some of it that I read, I kind of skimmed through because I wasn't ready for any of that. In the book, I think it talks about within your first year that it's best to go through the closet and their shoes and things like that and start giving them away. And I wouldn't give them away to family because you don't want to see them. You don't want to see the clothes on somebody else. That's my opinion. And a lot of people have said the same thing. So give it to Goodwill or whatever. However, I think a year is too long. I had a lot of other people say, 6 weeks, 2 months tops. And so I did go through that at about 2 months, and I was going to do it by myself. And my daughter Sherry said, "No, Mom, you're not doing that by yourself. I'm coming in and doing it with you." And so we did it together. And I'm so, so glad that we did, because there was some of the things I was okay with wrapping up some of his shirts and stuff, but there were certain pieces that I really had a hard time. And I saw something, I think it was through Facebook, came up, or a friend suggested it to me, of keeping a shirt or two and sending it away to this company and having a teddy bear made out of it in his shirts. And I could put it on the bed if I wanted to. So I kept the shirts, but I never got around to sending away to get the teddy bear made. And so I still have the shirts, 2 of them. And I cleaned out my closet, straightened it up and everything recently, and told my daughter, I said, when I go, Dad's shirts are still going to be in the closet. Don't be shocked. There's just 2 of them. It's the ones I never sent for the bears. I can't get rid of those last 2. So keep that in mind. Don't keep a lot of trinkets and different things. Just let them go. Let them go. I promise you, you'll be better for it. So what did you do? If you've been through this, and most of you have, what did you do about the time to get rid of clothes and things? And if you've still got them, I really encourage you to get rid of them, because there's no way that we can move on to whatever is ahead for us that they want us to do if we don't let go of his stuff. It's kind of like in the Bible, Lot's wife, Jesus said, "Don't look back." And she looked back and she got turned into a pillar of salt. I think the message there is, there's nothing for you to look back on. So you have to look forward, even if it's an empty hole, which it usually is for us. We don't know where we're going. So that's my thought on that. And toward the end of year 1 and into year 2, I was had a group recommended to me, which I've recommended to a lot of you guys. And if you haven't been to that, I really recommend you do. And it's a grief share group. And look for a church that has a grief share group, and make sure that it's for widows only, because I went to one and it was for a grief share group for anybody that's lost a family member. And it's not the same. I mean, you've got someone in there that's lost a child, or they've lost a mother or a father, and then you're in there with a husband, or there's a man in there losing their wife. There's too much emotion going on. It's all mixed up. It's all jumbled. So find a grief share group that's specifically for widows. And I think it's 12 or 16 week course. But you'll be grateful that you did it. And if you have to go through it 2 or 3, 4 times, do that too. It's a place to connect and to know that your feelings are not alone. I've told you guys more than once that over the years, it's like whenever I shared anything with you, I can't tell you how many times you said the same thing. And so it made me realize that I wasn't the only one going through it. This was before I went to Grief Share, the first year and part of the second. So find a group if you haven't. And if you find that you're still grieving too much, maybe you need to go back for a refresher. Do that too. It's okay. Anytime. And the other thing I really want to assure you on And I guess that I should have said something to you guys much earlier when I was going through this, but I guess I didn't, because when I was going through it, I didn't know what it was. And that's widow brain. Ladies, it's real. You are not losing your mind. You're not going crazy. You know, we thought when we were younger that we walk into a room and forget what we went in there for. That this is different. Widow brain is actually something. And if you Google it or ask ChatGPT if you're into that, it'll give you a good explanation of what you're going through when you have widow brain. Just know it's real. It's really real. And there's something else let's see. Yes, friendships. You know, my friend Marianne came down and spent the night with me the very first night Gar passed. And do you know, and we'd been friends for 23 years. No, 20 years. Yeah, about 19 years, somewhere in there. And we were very close, and the four of us were close. Her husband passed 7 months before Gar did. And do you know she walked out of my life? I couldn't understand that. I couldn't believe it. She just walked out of my life. And I kept reaching out to her, and I kept trying. And there was nothing. She just left me. And so if you've ever had that happen, I promise you, it's not you. It's something they're dealing with. I think part of the problem was she was only 7 months into her grief. In the beginning, I needed much more help in my grief than I thought I was going to. You know, I thought I had it handled. I thought I was okay. I knew I would lose him, be sad and miss him. But I thought that I could pick up the pieces quicker than I did. Have you ever felt that way? So she walked out of my life. And we chatted several times. She tried to explain, and I have a tendency to kind of not speak my mind and not argue and that kind of thing. So I just never, she would explain herself with ridiculous reasons why she walked away. I never spoke up. And the last time I put it out in public, and she called me and she said, we have to talk. So she came down and we talked. And we talked deep. And I was able to express my feelings. And it was a mutual sharing of emotions. And so we agreed, basically she agreed because I was still trying, to get together once in a while and visit and just kind of see where it went. And she said something like, well, you know, it's like sisters, you know, we've had a fight and now we're going to try to make up. And I'm like, no, we didn't have a fight. You just walked out. And it was the first month that Gar passed that she did that. So I was grieving twice. So if you haven't had any of that happen, maybe they've come back. Maybe they haven't. But those are some of the things that I dealt with during the end of year 1 and into year 2. And I will end with saying that year 2 was actually, and I've heard this from many people, it was harder than year 1. Year 1, you know, you have that empty chair and that empty bed, and how can anything get any worse than that? But I think year 2 was that in year 1, you're still in shock. At every first that you experience, you're in shock over it. And you can't think. You've still got the widow brain. You don't know what to do. And by year 2, you know he's not coming back. And that's when it hits the most, I think. That's the hardest. So year 2 was harder for me than year 1. Let me know how you did in year 2. So I'm going to let us rest on year 2 and share any thoughts. If you had any different experiences with year 2, let me know. Anything you want me to share with the people on this page in the next video, let me know and I'll share that. Because we all have experiences and we have all made up this channel, not just one of us. All of us have made up this channel. And so your contributions are worth more than anything to me. So if you have anything that you want me to let anybody else know or anything that you want to share, please let me know. And with that being said, remember, if nobody else tells you today, remember, I love you. Have a good day and a good week. I'll be back for year 3.